give us what we need. Hey!
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power! Fight the power!
Too busy, I'm never too busy for you, babe. Never too busy, no. I've got things on my mind. I'm not too busy for you. I'm not too busy if you feel.
Happy Thursday. Welcome in. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Much respect to our Michael Jordan vibe we have going on right now. Like I'm about to get into the championship. Andy's confused. But if you watched The Last Dance, Jordan didn't get himself hyped pregame listening to hip-hop or something along those lines. Jordan was bumping Kitty Lattimore. And because Andy is always on theme, you know we're getting into a little Kenny Lattimore and Judge Faith topic this evening. In addition to, of course, all your favorite trending topics and headlines, you're locked in here with me, as you are every Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m., to get off the things that have been burning up your timeline, keeping your group chat lit, and keeping your... Shout out to the chat. And, of course, keeping your scroll finger well in practice. You know, all the good things, all the things that are currently important in 2025. Kidding. But you know how we do here. We get into these trending topics and headlines. So in addition to Kenny Lattimore and Judge Faith, we're also going to talk a little Joy Taylor. You know, she said that she dates some 8 to 80, dumb, crippled, and crazy. No, just playing. That's a Big Daddy Kane line. She said 25 to 70. Well, she gave some texture to that statement. And really, it was about the things that she loves about dating older men. And she shared that she's dated men at least 20 years older than her on 2 occasions. So we'll get into the details of that. We're also going to be talking about these new rule changes the Grammys are instituting in the country music category. It just so happens to come after one Beyoncé Knowles won Best Album for Cowboy Carter. So we'll get into those details. And we're going to get into a little K. Michelle checking a CMA reporter about her experience, K. Michelle's, with country music. Shout out to Kimberly. And we're also going to, you know, Damon Dash, we've been tracking what has been happening with him and his debts and the items and products and, you know, rights, copyrights that he is using based off of based off of some of his actions. So we'll get into those details. But before we do that, of course, we start the evening with a couple of conversation starters. And, you know, the NBA Finals is taking place. Last night, the Indiana Pacers shocked everybody by taking Game 3. And somebody lost a whopping $1 million after wagering the OKC Thunder would defeat the Indiana Pacers in just 5 games. So, this is according to reports. This mogul, a billionaire, you know, allegedly bet $1 million on OKC winning the finals in 5 games. You know, a gentleman's sweep, right? And he may have a beef with them because he knocked the hometown favorites, the Knicks, off. But, I mean, does Jay still have ownership in the Nets? Or did he sell that? I think he sold that, yeah. And, we'll see what happens. Jay would have reportedly walked away with the $3.3 million payout had that come to fruition. But he might put up another bet, and, what's $1 million to a billionaire?
Yeah, I was about to say, is this truly news? You know what I'm saying? He's a billionaire, so for him, losing this bet is like $1 to him.
Perhaps. We'll have to see. In other interesting news, so Cory Booker, he recently sat down for an interview, and he revealed that he once fumbled a blind date with Mariah Carey. He was set up with Mariah Carey. He said in revealing this, he's never told the story before. And he said, Mariah, please don't deny me. In other words, Mariah will hit you with an obsessed with me. We saw what she did to Eminem.
He probably dodged the bullet.
You're not happy for your boy Anderson .Paak?
Hold on. He's dating Mariah?
I think so, yeah.
I did not know that.
I think that's in addition to working with, I think that, I don't know. Allegedly, they're keeping each other company. Allegedly.
Hey,
but we know they're doing music.
Have fun.
We'll see. When we come forward, we're going to get more into these trending topics and headlines. We have news on Portia Williams and her divorce finalization from Simon Gubayata. And let's just say, cha-ching. We'll get into all those details and more on the other side. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on! On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is Resilience in the Face of Chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA.
Love you. Love you.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds. Everyone's on them. If you're a 40-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost you about $100 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-352-9239. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To build $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-352-9239. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-352-9239. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. For affordable term life insurance, call 800-352-9239. 800-352-9239.
Now back to more entertainment news with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. So, of course, you know how this goes down. If you want to join in on the conversation, 800-920-1580. Of course, hit us up on social media, KBLA 1580. I'm at Stiletto Jill everywhere. Holla at me. Say hi. Let's see what else. Download the app so that you can listen at your convenience or re-listen because you might miss something. So, run it back to make sure that you're all the way locked in. We appreciate it. And of course, you know how the YouTube chat gets down. Chat. They're always busy. They're always on the go. And there's a lot of conversation that happens there. Some of it makes the air, some of it does not. So join there and get the visual experience to go along with this audio. You know, what do we want to call this?
An audio experience.
Audio experience, yeah. You know, I was trying to be clever and use a different adjective, but sometimes you're right. Just keep it simple and keep it moving. You know, don't try and do too much. Although I like doing the most occasionally, but you know, it's not always called for. All right, listen, let us get into this update about Portia Williams. So June 11th, that was yesterday. In a hearing, the judge enforced the couple's prenup, right? So Simon has to pay Portia $40,000 a month in alimony for up to 15 months, cover all of her legal fees. She will also get to keep her Rolls Royce that he gifted her. And the court also gave Portia until 2027 to decide if she wants to stay in their $7 million home. It was originally Simon's premarital asset. If she chose to remain, she must refinance and buy out Simon's 50% stake. So she would have to give Simon about $3.5 million. Though, you know, he'll continue paying the mortgage in the meantime while she figures that out. So they both appeared via Zoom, right? Remember, Simon has been deported. And it was a nearly 10-hour hearing. According to some insiders, they said that Simon was not happy with the results and he has 30 days to appeal the ruling. So, that's it with that. I don't know. He has a lot of fish to fry at one time. I hope he has a big fryer. Good luck with that. Okay, let's talk about Kenny Lattimore and Judge Faith. I have been telling you guys all year, this is the year of the public figure striking back. Add Kenny Lattimore and Judge Faith to the list of celebrities suing bloggers and YouTubers and even sometimes media companies for things that they are putting out into the universe. So they announced on their Instagram that they filed a lawsuit in LA County to hold anonymous YouTubers accountable for defamation and harassment they've directed towards their family and personal lives. They said that they've remained silent, but that silence should not be mistaken for acceptance. The legal action, they said, isn't just about us. It's about setting a precedent. No one should be allowed to profit from defamation on their platform while hiding behind anonymity. Jack that a little bit, but y'all got it. Anyway, we remain focused on our family, our work, and raising a very precious 2-year-old. So here's the thing. There have been a lot of questions about their relationships, a lot of allegations, and you know, since the blog era, then the YouTube blog era, people don't understand that, hey, you can be sued. You cannot, we have freedom of speech, but that does not mean freedom of consequence. And, you know, there might be a YouTuber listening to me in this moment. Might I offer a suggestion to you? If you're going to be out there being reckless, disregarding, you know, fact checking and just throwing any type of allegation at the wall, perhaps it would behoove you to invest in some errors and omissions insurance. It is for professionals, journalists, and I don't know where you consider yourself in those lines, but you might want to think about getting into that because if you think about it, Milagro that is who Megan Thee Stallion is suing. She had to do a GoFundMe for her, legal fees. Something happened with she and the lawyer. And so now she is looking for a new lawyer or representing herself in the meantime. Tasha K, as we know, lost her suit and had to file bankruptcy, et cetera, et cetera. Hey, if you have liability insurance, professional liability insurance, it's going to cover a lawyer under those instances. I'm just saying, think about these things. Investigate the business that you're jumping into, because while you think you're collecting all of these coins, at some point, the bottom's going to fall out from it, and you're going to be left responsible and holding the bag. So shout out to Judge Faith and Kenny for defending their name, their reputation, and protecting their family. We'll see what happens and what develops with that. Okay, let's get into Joy Taylor. She recently shared with Angela Yee and Jasmine Brand of the Jasmine Brand blog. Shout out to Jasmine. She followed up on a conversation that she had on Paul Pierce's podcast, Truth After Dark, which we know gets a little spicy, gets into some things. And on this particular episode, Joy shared that she is open to dating men and she has a broad range, right? But in this follow-up conversation with Jasmine and Angela, she said realistically she doesn't want to put, barriers on the youth, but she can't see herself dating a 26-year-old man. However, she did offer an explanation as to why dating older, even if they got a little pudge going on, the dad body, is kind of her jam. So let's get into the details.
There was a clip that went viral of you talking about you prefer dating younger guys, I think.
So Paul's podcast got me in all this mess. I said, they asked me what my dating range was, and I said 25 to, I think, 70, and they were upset. Well, so he was like, basically, you have range. But I could not date someone younger than 25.
Right. That's the limit. That's
yes,
the cutoff.
but I also am not dating 25-year-old men either.
Okay.
But I'm just putting a reasonable, and then they were like, 70's too old. Listen. Listen. We are aging well.
That's a fact.
Okay.
That's a fact.
I just want to say, because he, our good brother is married, so this is not what I'm saying, but if he wasn't,
Yes.
Denzel is 68 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are y'all talking about, please?
Yeah.
You're right.
All of you are lying. Everyone's lying.
What is the oldest you've dated?
I've dated someone 20 years older than me twice.
Okay.
I was much, much younger.
Okay.
But, the thing about older men to me is I really like to talk. That is my
That is
thing.
your,
Joy Taylor talks. I like to have conversations with people. It's how I connect with people.
Yeah.
And if you just don't have a lot to say, I can't always be the most interesting one.
You need somebody that has some depth to them, somebody that can,
let's talk about that experience. And so to me, I just feel like older men, plus I love a man.
Do you feel like you have to?
A little pudge, a little chest hair,
a little pudge and chest hair.
I like a little chunk. I like a little, I like a little chunk.
She likes medium ugly guys. She always says. Yeah.
Ugly is such a harsh word.
It is. Maybe I should stop using that, but just not super.
Because every guy that she dated is like, so am I ugly? And we would be so offended if a guy said, I like a little pudge. I like a little.
Pudge is good,
I think
though.
I think it's different for women because we're supposed to be soft.
Are we?
I don't know. I feel like
soft.
a lot of men
I'm
like
soft,
a soft woman.
I'm definitely soft.
So listen, there's a lot there, but I agree with her on the aspect of, connecting via conversation and experiences. I, too, do not want to be the most interesting one in the situation. Add to it. Have something to say. I think that is one of the things that social media has kind of, put a damper on back in the day, in the olds, in the aughts, you had to speak in order to have a conversation, to even start a friendship, an association with someone you were interested in. The guys had to go up to the girl and ask her for her number, had to call and ask to speak to her, couldn't just respond with a one-word text, WH, whatever, initials. there's more communication. I think it's a skill thing now. And we're kind of seeing the effects of it because we've also talked about several times. And I'm not necessarily saying this is a bad thing. It's just an interesting thing that Gen Z, they are having less sex than prior generations. And I think part of that has to do with, no, I want to hear what you have to say, Andy, is that they don't necessarily know how to interact with each other because so much happens over text or over social media. So sometimes those in-person connections are kind of, difficult. You got to read meme.
Please forgive me.
Okay.
Or maybe there's just a rise in homosexuality. And that's not to say that they don't have sex either, but I just think,
But they're talking about sex. They didn't specify.
You're right, but I'm giving you maybe a reason
hetero
why.
Or homo.
I'm giving you some reasons.
They just said sex. So I feel like they are not excluded if you are in a same-sex relationship from potentially having communication issues and not necessarily knowing how to have those interactions. I don't know. We'll see. Morris Phillips in the chat says, older men do listen better. My wife loves that about me. Okay, shout out to that. Going back to the earlier conversation, Royale Jenkins says, Chris Webber talked about suing Corey Holcomb about rumors on the internet. There is a rumor, and to me it was a ridiculous rumor. I don't understand why anyone would have bought into this. Like, even from a most basic thing, it's like clearly not true.
Corey Holcomb?
Well, I'm not sure what Corey Holcomb said, but I know that Chris Webber spoke out earlier this week about internet rumors that were surfacing.
I did see that.
That allegedly he and Doug, this is the rumor. I don't know who started it. I don't know where it came from. I believe kind of to the point of, maybe not in the same way, but of Judge Faith and Kenny's suit with anonymous YouTubers. I think that one of those AI YouTube gossip channels might have been the one that put this out. I'm not certain, but I heard something rumblings around that. But essentially what the rumor was that when Doug and Chris were teammates for the Sacramento Kings at one point, they had a falling out that Doug hates Chris, or Chris hates Doug, because Chris had an affair with Jackie and impregnated her, and one of their children is not Doug's, but actually Chris's. And that's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense in any commotion. Both of Jackie's kids with Doug look just like Doug. But beyond that, well, Chantel looks like a mix of Doug and Jackie. But beyond that, I just want you to think about I know that we've been hearing about some strange times and strange things lately. And so people are inclined to believe a lot of things that are just thrown out there. But what I also would say is that people can keep secrets. There are people that have hooked up that you have no clue about. So I'm not ignoring that fact. Like, there's some hookups that if it hit the world, people would be like, oh my God, burning down the timeline, trending for, I don't know, weeks perhaps. But the point is, some of them are ridiculous. And if you just use a bit of common sense, or just, take that one extra step to see one extra thing, where it came from, you know that this is some foolishness. So, I don't know.
What would help, though,
yeah,
is if Doug Christie and Chris Webber probably got on live together or something to squash it. Cause
I don't even think, Chris spoke, but I don't even know. I mean, it's so
shut
ridiculous.
All of it down. And Miss Jackie, too. I'm surprised Jackie didn't say anything about it.
I mean, she may, but I feel like, really, though, I hadn't heard anything about it. Not that that means anything, but I do, traverse on social media and what's going on out there until Chris made that video. So, again, we are at a time where celebrities are striking back. They're not letting you play with their names. They're not letting you play with their reputations. So, we'll see. Listen, we have so much more to get into because the drama, I shouldn't say drama, but the topics don't stop. They don't take a break. They keep moving. So when we come forward, right, we're going to get into the Grammys have just announced that they are changing some things, changing some rules, changing some category titles. Now, I should say, this isn't the first time that they've made changes to categories, moved things around, renamed things. Best male R&B contemporary at one point was best soul singer or things like that. So things happen. But this one feels particularly influenced by the ceremony that took place earlier this year. It should be noted, though, that a black man, Harvey Mason Jr., formerly a producer and writer, might still be, is the president of the Recording Arts and Sciences. I believe that's the proper name of it. So we have to consider that too, right? It's not a them. It's all of us. So we'll get more into those details on the other side. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580, News, Traffic, and Sports. Up next.
Even though I might not show it, girl, it's you I dream of. And just so you know it, you have my attention. Anything you need at all, I'll be there when you call me. Taking my time, but
You're in the know with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is urging residents to resist Trump-era immigration enforcement, calling it a necessary fight.
I am counting on all of Chicago to resist in this moment, because whatever particular vulnerable group is being targeted today, another group will be next.
His comments come as the city prepares for possible federal immigration raids, though he did not say how the city will respond if protests escalate. Prosecutors in the Sean Diddy Combs sex crimes trial say they may rest their case by next Friday. They're also questioning a juror's honesty about being fair, but the defense says it's an attempt to remove a black juror. And a public viewing for former Congressman Charles Rangel is today at City Hall in New York City. The Harlem icon died May 26 at 94. He served 46 years, co-founded the Congressional Black Caucus, and was the first black chair of the Ways and Means Committee. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Santa Monica 10 eastbound delays away from Cloverfield all the way to the 5 in Boyle Heights. Also very crowded right now on that 91 eastbound getting out of Carson. Delays from Avalon, heavy and slow as you continue ahead towards Lakewood Boulevard. And we're also seeing delays ahead in Anaheim on that 91 eastbound Kramer-Glassell to Green River. Chino Hill 71 southbound backing up away from Pine Avenue to the 91 freeway. And in Riverside, the 60 eastbound slows at Market Street to University.
Hello, Southern California. Experience Wild Fork Foods Meat and Seafood Market and get unbelievable prices with impeccable quality. From farm to freezer, premium meats and seafood, everyday grocery staples, and meal solutions. Find a Southern California location at wildforkfoods.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Chargers signed veteran linebacker Khalil Mack to a one-year contract worth $18 million. The 34-year-old Mack is coming back for his 12th NFL season, his 4th with the Chargers. One of the reasons Mack wanted to re-sign with the Chargers is to hopefully improve his playoff record. For all that Mack has accomplished in the NFL, including Defensive Player of the Year in 2016, he has never won a playoff game. The 9-time Pro Bowler is 0-5 in the playoffs. The main agenda item for the Oklahoma City Thunder heading into Game 4 Friday night is making Shai Gilgeous-Alexander more productive in the fourth quarter. The NBA MVP had only 1 basket and 3 attempts in the fourth quarter Wednesday night and no assists. Shutting down SGA was a key factor in Indiana's victory in Game 2. The Pacers take a 2-1 lead into Game 4 in Indianapolis. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, y'all, come on. Here come the drums.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, y'all gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey!
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power! Fight the power!
Hi, I'm LA City Councilman Curran Price, inviting you to join us on Saturday, June the 14th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. as we cut the ribbon on the brand new Enel Woods Park at 8703 South McKinley Avenue. Thanks to a generous donation from Heal the Bay, the park features smart irrigation, stormwater capture systems, and space for local wildlife to thrive. And we've built a walking trail, picnic areas, native landscaping, and quiet spaces for families to gather, relax, and connect. This is part of a much larger effort to expand green spaces across South LA with 3 new parks in the works, a first-of-its-kind community center coming soon, and plans to connect it all through the South LA Greenway. So mark your calendar for Saturday, June 14th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and come celebrate a greener, stronger South LA at Enel Woods Park. I'm also pleased to sponsor the Climate Justice plus Black Health Symposium, moderated by Tavis Smiley, live on C-SPAN, Wednesday, June the 18th, from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. Just a reminder to sign up right away at the KBLA1580.com website to join me, Mayor Karen Bass, Congresswoman Sidney Kamlager Dove, Tennessee State Representative Justin Pearson, Dr. Cornel West, former Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr., the Sierra Club's Ben Jealous, and other black influencers in the climate and health fields as we continue to amplify the connection between climate and poor health outcomes for our people. Thank you for listening. I'm Councilman Curran Price.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has worksource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. We're here to bust through the rumors, separate truth from fiction, and let you know when we simply don't know. We got all that for you. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Shout out to Club Nouveau Rumors. What's that, like 1985 or something like that when that dropped? Somewhere like that back in the day. All right, so I talked about the Grammy Awards, and they are gearing up for the 2026 ceremony. And there are several changes that have been announced, right, for next year's show. One of them is a move that has long been championed by artists and industry tastemakers and leaders, right? Best album cover. You're going to get a Grammy for the best album cover, I guess, right? But the one that has everybody buzzing is a significant change to the country genre, right? So the best country album category, right, has now been split, and it's been renamed Best Contemporary Country Album. And then a new category has been added, Best Traditional Country Album. There was no official reason given, but I mean, come on now. Do we think that it's just random? And I'm not saying that it is just about Beyonce. I think that there were some concerns when Shabuzi was nominated and things of that nature. So it may not be just the Queen Bee, right? But it is something that they're not enjoying about the browning of the country music industry, something that we've always been involved in, a part of the music. Now, you know, you have your hee-haw variety, and then you have your more soulful variety, I assume. But along those lines, right, K. Michelle, we know she's been talking about country music for quite some time. And K. Michelle is from Memphis, Tennessee, has vocals, can play the piano. Pen is deadly, right? And is very, very serious about this country music thing. Long before Beyonce announced that she was going to be tapping in and creating a country music album, right? That's no shade to B. That's not, she did it first. It's just the fact that this is something that she has discussed for quite a while. Well, in a recent interview, right, during the CMA Fest, Country Music Awards Festival last week, she was speaking to American Songwriter, and the interviewer made some assumptions about K. Michelle, which K. Michelle corrected with class. So let's take a listen.
So talk just for a second about your relationship with country music, because I feel like we just kind of got you. You haven't, you didn't grow up here in country music. So kind of tell people, kind of introduce yourself to them, and then tell them how you arrived in Nashville. What brought you here?
Yes, I did grow up in country music. You do this all the time. I did grow up in country music. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. I got a scholarship for yodeling. That's how I paid for college. My start to you, to be seen to you, has been when the Judd's people themselves reached out to me to go and pay Naomi Judd tribute. That was the first tape I ever got, and that was Love Can Build a Bridge. And it's always been a thing for me. I was told I could not sing country music because I was black, but it was something I had always been doing and will continue to do. I'm born and raised in Tennessee. I didn't fly through here.
You grew here.
Yeah, I grew here in Tennessee. And I am so happy to be able to sing the songs of who I am and what it is I want to. So I'm happy that people like you are just discovering me, though. And I'm happy to be here for that. So happy that you have.
We're not just discovering you. We just haven't heard you on contemporary country radio yet, right?
Well, you don't hear a lot of women on contemporary radio, period, right now.
That's
okay?
Right.
And you really don't hear a black one.
But you're
you
about
will.
to, right?
Bloop.
You're about
bloop.
to. Yes, you will.
Shout out to K. Michelle Bloop, Ben Country, and you're about to hear a lot more of this on contemporary country radio. I appreciate her. She didn't give you the K. Michelle that we've seen on Love and Hip Hop, right? She handled it with grace and a smile, politely schooled her, and didn't even take the offenses just move the vision for that reporter. And I love that she did it. I love the way that she handled it. And I mean, get ready. Change is coming. Andy?
You know, I just heard what K. Michelle had to say, but I can't help but just question. I know when it comes to a lot of genres of music, right? If we want to go historical, black folks have pretty much created all genres of music, right?
Mm-hmm.
I stand to be corrected if that's not the case.
A lot of
But
them, yeah.
I'm just curious to know if this is like truly from the bottom of their heart something that they want to do. I can understand growing up in Tennessee in the South and growing up in country music, but I don't know. I can't help but it just seems like this is just maybe like a hot trend or fad. Like are we trying to reclaim country music back again?
See,
you know what I'm saying?
You didn't hear what I said. K. Michelle has been talking about this long before Beyonce and Cowboy for at least, I want to say 7-8 years.
Fair enough.
She enjoys the genre, right? I mean, here's the thing. Does every black person like R&B and hip hop? No. Does every white person like rock and pop? Although pop currently, in my opinion, is largely hip hop. So, I mean, you know, I think that we can branch out. We can do other things. Morris Phillips in the chat brought up Charlie Pride, who for the longest time was the only black person I knew in country music back in the day. There have been others, but I think it's hard to break into. And I think it is something, if she is passionate about it, she should go for it. I mean, Willow doesn't sing the type of music that Willow, being Willow Smith, most would hear on the average R&B or hip hop music station. You're not going to hear Willow's songs there. But she's talented, and I think what she's doing sounds good for that genre, right? Some people may not agree. And is it just, fatty? I'm just taking a different one. So I don't know. We'll have to see. For some, there's always going to be people that are trying to catch the lightning in a bottle, chasing the next popping thing. But I think as far as K. Michelle, I feel that she's authentic in her passion and respect and desire to sing country music.
My only concern now is you see the Grammys trying to open up their awards when it comes to country awards, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about alternative now. Is that another cosign for black country artists and stuff like that? Like, are we gonna start now like creating an uproar because K. Michelle dropped the country album and she didn't get nominated? I'm just kind of concerned about all that.
I mean, and I feel you on that because a lot of people just want to be upset and angry at anything, right? Without sometimes dialing into the bigger issue or things behind it, without really knowing what takes place as far as that genre or whatever the case may be. But we'll have to see. K. Michelle's not Beyonce, so people might not be in the same type of uproar. I don't know. But I think that we have to let her try, right? And like I said, she, again, before B even put out Cowboy Carter, she was dropping, music. She hasn't dropped a complete project, but we'll see.
Yo, the fact that she said she was yodeling and she got like a
scholarship to college.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big ups.
So, shout out to K. Michelle. And like I said, the growth, the maturity in how she handled it was, exciting for me. Listen, when we come forward, we're going to get into the details of this Damon Dash forfeit. And, of course, a couple more trending topics and headlines. I got you. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you ready for the hottest entertainment scoop in Los Angeles? She's bringing you exclusive interviews with today's biggest stars, behind-the-scenes Hollywood insights, and all the entertainment news you need to know. She's breaking down what's trending, what's ending, and what's just beginning in the world of entertainment. You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams. My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up.
Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
May 6th was World Asthma Day, and it's a critical time to raise awareness about your asthma. Did you know that Black Americans are approximately 5 times more likely than white Americans to visit the emergency department due to their asthma? Managing your asthma is possible with regular checkups, avoiding known triggers, using prescribed medications correctly, and creating an asthma action plan with your healthcare professional. An action plan is a personalized plan you create with your doctor that shows you what to do and what medications to take to help control your asthma when you're having a hard time breathing or having an asthma attack. Stay aware. Have a plan because your health matters. For more tips and resources on managing your asthma, visit luma-edu.com. luma-edu.com. This message is brought to you by Amgen and AstraZeneca.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. So, listen, I see someone drop Nelly's name in the chat about doing, he had that Suit Sweat album that he did back in the day where one album, it was a double album. One album was hip hop, the other was country. So, it pops its head. It pops in and around every couple of years. Black folks rode the heck out of Islands in the Stream by Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton. Back in the day, I Will Always Love You is a country song. So, we have our moments with it, and it might just be time for another moment again. But speaking of Nelly, I'm glad he brought Nelly up because I almost forgot about this. I told you that Ashanti and Nelly have a reality show coming to Peacock. Well, the trailers dropped. The show is called We Belong Together. And it talks about, obviously we're going to see them behind the scenes, but it also talks about their reconciliation, how they were together off and on for 11 years. Then they broke up for about 10 or 11 years separately. And they both said they hated the other one when they broke up. And we all saw what happened at the Verses and what got them back together, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But they get to share this journey with all of the fans. Now, here's the thing, though, because, fans are fickle. And I saw a lot of interesting comments in some of the postings when perusing social media. Some fans are saying, this is a bad look because of the reality TV show curse. How many couples, happy couples, started off all giddy and excited and then ended up divorced by the time the reality show is heading off the air. And people don't want to see that for Ashanti and Nelly. Hopefully they will bypass that, but I can give you a rundown of a couple of people that this has gone through. The Osbourne, Nick and Jessica Simpson, Amon Shumpert and Tiana Taylor, Simon and Portia, Cynthia Bailey, and we could go on and on and on. There's quite a few. So I think that we are in a society where we, if you're a celebrity, you monetize every aspect of your life for some. And I think people are genuinely happy for them and are enjoying the ride. So I wish them success with it. And, it could be cute. We'll see what happens. Pretty Brown Mimi says, if they replay the show on NBC, I might watch it, but I'm not getting another app. Sorry, Charlie. Well, we'll have to see. I doubt it's going to make it to NBC, but you never know. Morris Phillips says, Royal hip hop has revolutionized. Oh, he's talking to someone in the chat. Basically saying hip hop has revolutionized all music all over the world. And, he brought up Spanish hip hop and things of that nature. Pretty Brown Mimi also says, unpopular opinion, K. Michelle is closer to country music than Beyonce, although both are country girls. Ooh. Andy.
Whatever happened to Brown Sugar?
Brown Sugar? Oh, I guess she just tried it on for the day and it didn't work for her. Shout out to Pretty Brown Mimi. Okay, look, so Damon Dash, we've been talking about it for quite a bit actually. He owed several people money. He had several lawsuits that were made against him for various things where he either lost, didn't show up, things of that nature. Well, a federal judge has just ordered him to surrender full ownership of several businesses and copyrights after failing to pay an $832,000 judgment. The list includes Dash Films, Inc., Blue Rock, LLC, Black Rock, LLC, and rights to movies like Honor Up and Welcome to Black Rock. If Dash doesn't object by June 16th, the U.S. Marshal will once again auction his assets off within 180 days. And this one stems from a defamation and copyright case that goes back a few years that he's kind of been dodging. And combined with his 2019 bankruptcy, it kind of leaves him with, very little leverage. And it's so interesting and crazy to me if you think about late 90s, early 2000s. It was Suge Knight, it was Puff, it was Dame Dash, and it was Irv Gotti. And look where all four of those individuals are right now. So, it is important to build a brand, but it is just as important to sustain the legacy of it. And, make sure that you create something that you can pass on to the next generation. Fairly.
Exactly. I like you said that because those individuals are some shiesty individuals. Except for maybe Irv Gotti. I think, he was really trying to help hip hop. But, if you know the behind the scenes stories behind that.
Some of the approach was moan and, things happen. But yeah, keep those things moving. All right. One more story before we close out for the night. Dietrich Haddon. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a gospel artist. Also a preacher. And he had some spacey words for BET and the Bobby Jones Gospel Award. I mentioned the other night that this award was given to Glorilla. I thought that part of the reason why the award went to Glorilla had to do with Kirk Franklin also being honored and Doechii being in the spotlight. I thought this is a way to split the difference. But Dietrich is not having it. He said that this is why the gospel music industry is in the state that it is now, that they need to take back control, and that is why you are seeing the same people honored over and over again, probably talking about Yolanda Adams and Kirk Franklin. And, he said that it's not a traditional gospel record, and BET needs to draw clearer genre lines moving forward. But I argue that record could be connecting the youth to a whole other thing. And the idea with Jesus was in the streets with the people, right? So sometimes you're going to have to go different ways. I understand his frustration. I understand the desire that some of the more traditional artists that might have been overlooked for some get their just due. But I also don't feel like you have to slam the collaboration of Glorilla and Kirk. Think about what Stomp did for gospel music 25, 30, however many years ago that was when that dropped. So I just think that while we fight for our own to be recognized, I think we also have to recognize that things evolve and take shape, and it is how you extend your culture. Because as he mentioned, if gospel is dying, per you got to reach the youth. All right. So that's it for today. I thank you guys so much for tapping in. You know, people got people pressed and all of these things, and I'm here to break it down for you each and every Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Coming up next is your sense, your conscience. It is your conscience. Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, coming up next. I'll take you guys out Friday.
Hallelujah. And please keep me safe from all my enemies. Yes, sir. Blessings rain on me. Gloria. Hallelujah.
Feeling like I'm God's favorite, and that stuff is feeling ever. Rain down on me, Father God. I won't use an umbrella. Forget the ones who play with me. Apparently they don't know no better. At times I don't know who to trust. I randomly rebuke the devil. It's hard to talk about my blessings. They be saying I'm acting cocky. Always am forever humble. They just don't want to see me pop it. 5 feet and I'm praising you with every inch up in my body. So I pray you watch my back along with those who say they got it. Watch over my family, Lord, and watch over all of my partners.